Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, something very predictable has happened in the NBA circles. Now, Bleacher Report is reporting that there is still very much strong mutual interest between the Lakers and the Nets in getting a deal done for Kyrie Irving. Big surprise, they still want to do this nonsense with these two franchises in regards to this offseason. So very predictable. It gets to a point where it's like, yeah, this is all controversy. Literally all controversy. I don't know where this situation is going to lead the two teams. I don't know where Kyrie Irving is going to play basketball next season, but what I can tell you is when I'm focused, I'm 2 steps ahead of the game. That's what I'm starting to understand. All of this was predictable. If I were behind the scenes trying to strum up controversy, I probably would have played it this exact same way. And it's frustrating because that's exactly what they're doing. They are messing with the fans. So, now we await what happens next. I told you guys they're messing with us in a sense that they told us that this situation was going to be resolved in an opt-in several hours before they released the information that he was opting in the sad way. Like, that's literally how the news went. That's how it went. It's like, okay, he's telling you he's going to opt in, but he wants trade partners. So all you teams that think it's possible to get him, feel excited. 2 hours later, he's opting in, and he released a statement saying he's going to see you in the fall. Be sad. Okay, we already knew he was opting in. We already knew these are things we already knew. The $6 million Laker scenario was far-fetched at best. Nobody was going to do that. Leaving $30 million on the table to play basketball for a year when you're trying to figure out, or rather trying to establish your value in the league to get max money. If the point is to reestablish yourself to get max money, why are you leaving money on the table? That's not how that works. That doesn't add up. That's the opposite of what you're trying to accomplish. So the narrative itself didn't add up if you just applied a little thought. But I talked my way into thinking that maybe there were some scenarios where it made sense, and even as I made a video trying to do that, it still fell apart. The logic didn't make any sense because he's going to be auditioning for one season regardless. So either you audition for one season for $36 million or you audition for one season for $6 million. Now, here's the key to all of this. If for some reason he had a no trade clause within this 1-year deal, then you could say, okay, well, he's locking himself into a situation and therefore he has say-so about what happens to the contract. But if he don't have no say-so what happens to the contract, he could be traded at the deadline either way. Why in the hell is he signing up for a $30 million pay cut with the same possibilities of maybe not even playing for that team? That doesn't make any sense at all. But the media ain't going to share that with you because that's not going to allow you to string at your heartstrings and be all scared. That's going to settle your nerves. They don't want to settle your nerves. They want you thinking about this man taking a pay cut to go to the team that they always send people to break your heart, or send people to break the other team's heart by snatching them away from their team and bringing them here. I mean, these type of things have just been going on for 30 years already. So after watching this so many times and going through this roller coaster with them and trying to analyze what's actually happening versus the bullcrap they feed us, I realize it's hard to do so. It's very difficult to do so. It's very difficult. And you can't tell who's playing along, who's in on what. Seems like everybody's in cahoots now. I mean, I don't trust nothing at this point. I think everybody's trying to strum up the controversy to make this thing exciting and, because they're all on the same page. At the end of the day, they're trying to bring attention to the league itself. So this is one big commercial for the league, and people are going to play their part. So, just like with the Kawhi situation, Laker fans is taking the brunt of it. We get the worst of it. And so we just wait it out. I still think in basketball sense, for both teams, it makes sense for Kyrie Irving to be a Laker. If I'm the Nets, I don't want him at $36 million. I don't care what nobody says. I just went through what I went through. There's no way in hell I want that. I don't want that. I'm not going to pretend like I see that making sense in my mind. If I'm putting on the Nets hat as their GM, no, I don't want Kyrie Irving at $36 million. And I have to have a philosophy that believes in what Ben Simmons does and doesn't do as a means of winning in order for me to want to go forward with him too. And that's just about philosophy. I don't know who's in that front office and what they believe, but since they brought him to the team, I'd imagine they all agree that he's somebody they should be working with. So that right there means you have taken on a project in and of itself. In and of itself, Ben Simmons is a project. Building around Ben Simmons is not like building around any other player in this league. And the thing about that is, if you don't build around that player, he doesn't fit in a lot of situations. He's not a pick and plug player, so now he's more difficult to move than the average player because of it. So if they took on that responsibility, if they truly understood what they were doing, then they need to honor that by making sure they have the pieces around him that make sense. Now, I think Kai and KD are definitely good pieces for him, but where is he at? And that's been my point with the Nets, as you guys have heard me say many times. Where is he at? Is he healthy? Is he good? Is he ready to go? And if so, what version of him is he going to be? What's up with the back? Is that going to be a reoccurring problem? We know what's going on with other players who have back issues. Is this something that you could really say you want to move forward with when you have that coupled with the mental health thing as well? And if people who don't believe he has any mental health issues, then you got another problem on your hands. Either way, it's a bunch of questions, regardless. So it's like, if you're signing up for that, and you're going to sign up for Kyrie Irving, why would I want that? You see what I'm saying? It's like, unless I just believe in their game more so than anything else that I could possibly put together in exchange for them, for which I don't believe is the case. There's talent all over the league. With those pieces, I can attract talent that I can believe in, that is reliable, that may be more affordable, that may allow me more flexibility to build, and give me a chance at the championship all at once. If I take these valuable pieces and make the right deals for them. It's that simple. That's how I see the Nets situation. So based on my philosophy, it depends on who I'm keeping. But what I'm not going to do is keep those three together this season. I'm not doing that. If I'm keeping Kyrie and I'm keeping KD, I'm trading Ben Simmons. It's that simple. I'm not going to have him attached to them when they need to be winning now. Kyrie just chose us over the Lakers, and the Lakers had a situation where they were trying to win a championship. If I'm not going to win a championship, then I'm not honoring his choice. And that I would want to honor that choice based on what it is in my circumstances and past with him. It's the head scratcher that brought me to this camera in the first place. Why am I trying to honor him if I'm the Nets? Respectfully, of course, but not based on the history that we've had. There's no reason for me to be trying to honor him, unless I'm trying to just honor KD. And if that's the case, do we have to have a real conversation about where KD is right now, and why they don't need to be prioritizing him if it means all of that for them? But that's the conversation that actually needs to be had. I love KD, but this ain't 2017 KD. This ain't 2016 KD. This is aging KD who just got swept out of the playoffs by Boston because of the problems that you are going to provide him with going into this same situation we're talking about. You're going to have them same problems if Ben Simmons is 100% and you don't get them some more help. Help you can't get them because you don't have the pieces to bring it to them. That's the problem. You can't bring them what they need. That's always been my point. As to where the Lakers, we have a similar issue with LeBron James, but at value, Kyrie Irving is the answer to that problem for us, which is why we're the only team that covered him. Which is why you should be trying to give us a deal with him, because you shouldn't want him and we need him, and that's the only situation like it in the league. And the only thing in the way, as far as I can tell, is the media telling us that things aren't actually happening and probably are, that make all this make sense, which means he'll probably be traded sometime within the next couple of days to the Lakers, because it just makes more sense than anything else to me, unless people have certain philosophies about basketball that I just don't share. A belief in what it is that they have and that they can build a championship core, for which I just don't believe. I don't see it. I don't see enough defensive help. I don't see enough support for them if they were to get hurt. And there's too many scenarios where you see them get hurt or not being available this season for me to say, okay, we can go in as a shallow team. We can go in with questionable role players. And with this trio that we haven't seen together, that we didn't even intend to put together, we just had to stumble into Ben Simmons because of the need to get rid of Harden. I mean, this is not the fit that they had in mind in the first place. And they need to be honest about that too. You bring in Ben Simmons, replace him with James Harden. That's a different dynamic. That ain't the dynamic that y'all thought y'all was going to be carving people up with. That's not what y'all signed up for. So is that what y'all believe in? Come on. Stop playing with me. So I'm just looking at this situation with my own mind. I'm putting my thinking cap on, and I'm trying to put myself in the positions of the people involved, and I just look at it and say only a few of them should actually even want this. Only a few people in Brooklyn should actually even want this. The media makes us think that Brooklyn should be excited about keeping Kyrie from coming to the Lakers, but at $36 million, no, that's not something you want. For 1 year, you don't want that. Nobody wants that but us. And to be honest, we don't want him at 36 for 1 year either. We would much rather have him at 6, like the media was saying, but that's just not realistic, and that's okay. But to sit up here and act like anybody, based on the history, the most recent history, any team in this league right now actually wants to pay that 1 year 36 for Kai, I don't think that's the truth. That's just not the truth. We're the only team where that makes sense, and that's why we're the only team after him. And if we're the only team after him, then why does the team that won him want him? Think about that, people. Let that one sink in. I don't know, man. I'm just. There's a few scenarios where it makes sense. Like, for example, I bring Kai back, trade him at the trade deadline for maybe a pick, right? But that doesn't make sense for keeping him for KD. That doesn't make sense. So what I'm gonna do? Let him expire? He wants a 5-year deal with us. We already told him we didn't want to do that. Ain't that what this whole bluffing narrative is about? Everybody wants to say he got his bluff called or whatever. It's because he thought that they were going to give him a 5-year deal that we've all thought was never even on the table in the first place. I don't think Kai's an idiot. I think he knew that 5-year deal wasn't on the table. You think I actually think that was on the table for him? He didn't. That wasn't on the table. Media talk about his name every day. I'm sure he saw his value going down in that way every day, every time Stephen A. opened his mouth. Come on. Like, we don't see that? So, no one thought Kai was getting a 5-year deal. Now, he still needed to leave himself open for the possibility of it. Hell, people make bad decisions, good decisions, whatever. You know, people do things that you don't expect them to do. Maybe somebody decides they want to do that. Sacramento Kings owner's done some things we never thought we'd see. But if you didn't give him an opportunity to do it, if you take the choice from him, you never get a chance to have that blessing or whatever it is he decides to do that may not necessarily make sense for him, but may make sense for you. I'm just being real. These are the honest things that come to mind when I think about the Sacramento Kings. But nevertheless, you got to get to a point where you can't let the media make you think, Nets, that you should want something that you actually shouldn't want. Because I think that's also a scenario I see. They're listening to the media like, yeah, we can't let him go to the Lakers. Like, no, you should probably want him to go to the Lakers too. Don't let them mess with you like they're messing with the rest of us too, honestly. But, yeah, because I think that narrative's out there. Like, that is something I never agreed with. That they needed Kyrie to compete this season. The Nets, no. They needed to just bring pieces to them that made sense, honestly. I don't think that that's the best piece because defensively they have so many holes in other areas. So they would need him, in theory, to be a defensive guard to help with some of the deficiencies that they have with those bigs. It's the same issue we have with Russell Westbrook. We need him to be a defensive guard when AD isn't out there. But if he's not going to be a defensive guard, we need him to be a pure shot maker and a space creator so that we can make up for that with other guards that are defensive, a.k.a. the guys that we picked up, Christie, Pippen. Those guys will help us in that area. They can play roles that will supplement his weaknesses defensively. But what they wouldn't do is make up for the inefficiency of Russell Westbrook's shooting, which is why it's fine. You see what I'm saying? You bring in Kyrie Irving even though he's not defensive. So that's my mentality. It's like, if the fit works, man, I'm telling you, we're already making moves so that we'll have Kai in place. And so it still makes sense that we move him here, or rather the Nets move him here. And in my opinion, if the Nets are thinking clearly, they should not want him at $36 million for one season when they have no intention of re-signing him. That is the stupidest thing in the freaking world. It really is, especially when you have KD on a contract for 4 or 5 years. At the end of the day, you can just tell KD, no, I ain't trading you, period. We're going to bring you what you need, and you're going to play for us. What are you going to do? Nothing. He doesn't have no trade clause. Now, if he does have a no trade clause, then I think he should use it. But that's just my opinion. I don't think if he has a no trade clause, he should get up out of there. He should get up out of there. He shouldn't wait for nobody to do nothing. He needs to think about himself. You're not going to win a championship there, in my opinion, sir. They're going to come to the conclusion that they need to move both of those pieces, and you don't know who you're going to be playing with. I'm telling you. I think like a GM. I know where this is headed. They're gonna move both of them. They're gonna let Kai walk. They're gonna come to a conclusion about Ben Simmons, and they're gonna move him too. That's what's gonna happen. So, because I see that down the pipeline, if I'm KD, I'm getting out of there before that happens. I'm not waiting for that. Because they're doing some weird stuff with this Kyrie Irving situation if they don't follow through and trade him to the Lakers. It's something weird happening. I don't care what they tell you, KD. We're going to keep y'all together, y'all win. That's not possible. They can't bring you what you need. As I've said a million times, without the picks, they can't do it. And I don't think they can trade Ben Simmons for enough pick equity. I don't think so. He's going to have to prove that he's that guy, which means y'all going to have to go out there and make him better. Oh, assuming he's healthy. We're trying to play for a championship if I'm Kyrie and KD. I'm not trying to do all this. See all this I just said? That shouldn't be on my mind. I don't know. I just hope the right people see me. I hope the right people see the way I try to break down what I see. Because sometimes when you're too close to a situation, you can't see the forest for the trees. You need somebody who's not close to help you see what the lay of the land is. And I'm telling you, for both the Lakers and the Nets, I think the Lakers look like they're on track. They look like they're on track. The Nets, no, they're all over the place. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they want, it appears. They're afraid, it appears. They're afraid to let go of KD. They're afraid to relieve themselves of headaches. But that fear is going to back you into the same consequences you're afraid of. I promise you that. You're going to back yourself into a situation where all three of them men going to be unhappy. All three of them. That's just how that's going to play out. Because there's going to be too much pressure on Ben Simmons to come back straight. And he needs to work on that. That ain't an overnight thing. You don't get one summer and be out. All right. That's not how this works. I'm talking from experience. I know this. That ain't how this works. He's going to need years to get mind and body right. Regardless if you believe in his mental health or not, the fact that he would be lying about his mental health is a mental health issue. I cannot stress that enough. Whether you believe he's crazy or not, there's things that he's going to have to work through. Either way. So let's dispel that notion right here and now. Bottom line is, if you don't give him the timeline and you put a win now championship pressure on his head right now, I think that could send him right back into a spiraling situation, to be completely and utterly honest with you. And I'm not trying to put that out there. I just know how it is when you've dealt with what you've dealt with, and then someone puts massive pressure on you. You got to win now. You and Kyrie, and you're the piece. If you're not healthy and you're not strong, they're not going to win, and that's your fault. Nah. No. That's not good for Ben Simmons. Not if the reports of what he's dealing with is true. He shouldn't have that type of pressure on him fresh off the year off. No, Brooklyn. No. That's another factor in this situation. Absolutely not. So I thought that was something that needs to be said as well. Anyway, I hope everybody's enjoying their day. I hope everybody enjoys me processing all of their business. It ain't got nothing to do with me. But I do want to see teams succeed, especially mine. And this is something, quite frankly, I think we need. Because if we trade Russell Westbrook for Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward, we're going to be stuck in a hole with those contracts for 5 years or more, trying to stretch them. I hate that plan. Then I start thinking about the other plans like the Lakers have to get out from under their problems, and none of them look very good. So we need Brooklyn to get their minds right, turn the TV off, turn off ESPN, and think about what it is that they actually want for themselves over the next several years, and think about the field and whether or not you can truly bring to those players what they need to compete this season. And if you can't do that, you're not doing your job by those players, and they need to be in different situations, whether they see it that way or not. By the mid-season, they're going to feel that way, and you would have done better to have relieved them of that issue ahead of time. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching.